Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today got my buddy Matt, and we just both got back home from New Jersey. Man, what a weekend, man. It was great. And we're just gonna get right into it, man. So Matt and I we talked about this. So we went on Friday and we checked out some Jovi history sites in New Jersey on Friday, and then obviously Saturday was the cook-off, and today was a travel day back home. So for those that want to hear about what we did on Friday, we'll talk about that at the end. Let's just do it real quick. I think it's only gonna take us a few minutes. So,
Sure.
so Friday we Matt and I we both were on different flights, but we actually both flew in right at the same time on Friday. Got there at 8 o'clock. Um, and so our first stop was the JBJ rest stop. And I saw it when it first opened a few years ago. And obviously a few things have changed. But this is your first time seeing it. No, second time, right?
No, second time, and they definitely had done some renovations. I was really honestly surprised at how nice it looked now. Because I didn't think
Yeah.
it was that bad before, but as I'm sure you'll allude to, they got a nice big TV in there playing Bon Jovi concerts, and
Yeah.
that was really cool to see.
Yeah. It's sad the hologram's not there anymore, but you could check out the hologram over at JBJ's Nash, Nashville. Um, yeah, the Talking Me guitar is still there. They have I like the different album covers that they have spread out through the place. A lot of nice pictures, especially when you walk into your left where the big TV is.
Yep.
Um, and Bon Jovi music playing, so it's pretty cool. And in the merch, Rest Stop merch, they don't really have any Bon Jovi or JBJ Rest Stop merch, but they did have a "Living on a Prayer" John Bon Jovi poster, which I have in my suitcase to get it out, but I don't think it's official merch. I think someone just made it up and put it
Yeah,
up.
but it was a nice little print, though. I thought it was kind of cool.
Little keepsake, obviously me as a collector, I have to have it, so I got it. Um, yeah, so we went to the JBJ rest stop, and then what did we do after? Oh, we went over to Sayreville, saw a few places. Now we didn't get out, but we it was on the way, so we stopped over at John's childhood home on Robin Hood Drive. We just drove by it, it was on the way, so we did that. And then we went to Sayreville War Memorial High School. Now, I know I gotta trim this down because I could say so much. So at Sayreville War Memorial High School is where John went to school, and last year they opened up John Bon Jovi Performing Arts Center. And so obviously, unfortunately, with all the school tragedies that are happening, they're not really letting the schools don't let just random people go in. Usually, you have to be a parent or faculty or whatever. So, and respectively so. I am so thankful that I have a really good friend that knew the principal and uh, reached out to the principal, and the principal allowed us to come to the school and give us a tour. And so for those, obviously, fans really can't go there and just see it. But what I did is I got permission from the principal. I got to take photos of everything, and I posted it on Instagram, my Twitter, and it's on YouTube as well. So you can check out all the different pictures of everything. So it is really cool. My dear friend Matt here opted out of not going in and checking it out.
I
So
did, but it's funny. I looked at the pictures on Twitter that you had posted, and I was like, "Holy cow, man!" I was blown away at the amount of stuff that they had in there. I
yeah, I
I
mean,
didn't expect that much, to be quite honest with you.
how long was I in there for? Like hour and 15, I think. It was
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yep.
It was. I'm gonna be honest with you. I fanboyed so much in there because you go in there. So like I said, it's called John Bon Jovi Performing Arts Center. It was opened up last year. I think September of 2024. Yeah, because they just had their 1 year anniversary, and it's a way to honor John, and Snake from Skid Row. But anyway, so you go in the principal's office. So I went to the principal's office at first, and he's got so much cool memorabilia in there from the band. On Backstage with Bon Jovi website, you could go on and in the shop you can order the album plaques.
Yep.
There's a few plaques that were dedicated to Sayreville War Memorial, so that was pretty cool. John and Snake had some autographs in there. I got everything. I got everything in this video that I posted. But anyway, so yeah, we went around. They have a lot of David Bergman prints. Um, they had John's Takamine guitar that he made out to Sayreville War Memorial. And then they have a recording studio that Obi, so Lou, Matt, and Obi kind of handled a lot of arranging this and everything, the principal. And Obi designed a recording studio. So the recording studio is named after it's AP 95, which was John's guitar teacher, Al Parinello. So that was really cool. They have a nice little plaque right outside of the recording studio. So Obi designed that, and what was really cool, and I noticed it, and this is the fanboy in me. They had curtains in there. They were like black and white, and I recognized it, obviously from like videos over the years. John in his Red Bank studio, Sanctuary 2, I believe it's called. That there's been these black and white curtains. They're now in the studio at this school. So the kids are able to come in and record music, and it's like the whole music room itself is really cool. Then you have a small recording studio where they can record it. It's pretty cool. But I think that the biggest takeaway is that all of this motivates the kids to know that, hey, I can become something. Maybe not a rock star, obviously, or maybe so. Yeah, but achieve what they want to achieve. John coming from this small town, which I love Sayreville. So I think it's pretty inspirational. And the principal was so nice. He gave us so many cool stories. And of course, there was like some photos like for example, the Bon Jovi Forever photo from 2013 in Italy when Max and Luca and the Italian fans did the Bon Jovi Forever, and Dave Bergman got the photo, and John
That
was
was inside.
yeah, that was it. Yeah, a nice big
Oh
Dave
man,
Bergman print frame,
that's cool. I
and
remember that.
and the principal didn't know what it was for, what it was for. And of course me, I knew the story, so but it was really cool. I mean, I fanboyed pretty hard at that, so it was really cool that I got to see it. And as the principal agreed, I wanted other Bon Jovi fans to be able to see it. So what I did is I took photos of everything, and there's a video online, so everyone kind of gets an idea of what it's like in there. So I
Hey,
could talk so
hey,
much about. Go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick. Let's just go ahead and put this on record. We did a Bon Jovi trivia 2 nights ago, the two of us, and I think you beat me like 49-1.
Okay.
So just so that's on record.
Okay. So let's talk about this real quick. So Matt's daughter, we were at our Airbnb last night, and we were talking about how well we know these songs. And I don't want to brag here, but you could name me a song. I can tell you what track it is, and I can tell you which album it's from, or what outtake or that, blah, 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 blah. And so the idea was that you and I sat by each other, and Emma would start playing a song, and whoever got the song got the point. And what was it? It was 50-2 or something. 50-1.
Yeah. If
I
I got,
still got this house before you did. Just for the record.
I mean, you could at least give me that one. Come
Yeah.
on now.
But I mean, you tell the listeners here, Matt, how soon did I have that song named?
Well, in my defense, it was off of your cell phone. So, but no, dude. I mean, before I could even start to think, you already knew.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah. So after the War Memorial High School, we went to just to stop real quick. I wish we got pizza that we just didn't have time over this week. We'll do it next time. But we went to it was called Enzo's or Angelo's before. I think it's called Enzo's before, and
Before, yeah,
now it's Angelo's.
Angelo's, yeah.
So back in '86, obviously the band recorded a lot of stuff when we went over in Vancouver. But when they came home and just doing some finishing touches and this and that, there was a recording studio in Sayreville that was near this pizza joint called Enzo's. And it's actually in the New Forever book. You can see a photo of it. But so John developed this pizza parlor jury at this pizza shop. And so after they would record for the day, he would take these demos and songs to the kids and say, hey, what do you guys think? You guys like this song? blah blah blah. And so that kind of helped shape ideas and opinions. So we went there. You know, there's just a little like newspaper article I think from 2001 that kind of talks about that story that's in their pizza joint. But really good. I've been there before. I think I went back in 2013. So we did that, and then here's my favorite part. What other favorite part? We went to Walls Township because my favorite photography of the band and favorite album cover is Crossroad. I just love the whole photography from that era. So we went to Walls Township to go to Roadside Diner. Actually, so it's under new ownership. Last year, it was announced that they were closing down, and I was so bummed that's because I wanted to go one more time. The last time I went was like 2013. Um, and so uh, new people bought it, and so we went. Um, they don't have like all the Bon Jovi memorabilia that the old owner had, and I did show the owner. I remember you watching that. I showed the owner and his son the backstage with Bon Jovi content of the Crossroad tab. You know, so like they were like looking through all the photography at the roadside because Saturday Night single was photographed outside of the diner at night. So ate there.
I wanted to say too, talking about the roadside diner. You had gone before. That was my first time there, which is a really cool diner in itself. And I had talked about. I even told my wife this today once I got back. I said, we went into the roadside diner, and if you were just passing through town, they've got this subliminal message that, if you had no idea Bon Jovi had done a photo shoot there,
Yeah,
you wouldn't even know. But they
no,
had a Crossroads CD in a case kind of tucked away.
yeah.
And
Tucked away is not the word for it. Like in Iceland, basically, you really have to look for it to see it. You know, if it, I was joking at the diner that I would buy the diner and then I would just plaster the whole place with all the photographs from the diner.
yeah,
It'd be a Bon
but
Jovi,
well,
Jerry's Bon
well,
Jovi history site.
agreed. Yeah, what I wanted to say was like, I'll be honest with you though, like take all that away. It was an excellent diner. I highly suggest people go there
Well,
just for the food. Um,
the old owners, not to speak ill will here, the old owners hated the whole Bon Jovi fans coming in and stuff. And
really,
yeah, I heard some bad stories from like, other fans that have gone in there. They're okay with me from what I remember, but I get it. But I mean, we dined there, um, so after Walls Township, what did we do after that? Oh, we went to Americana Diner where they did the red, white, and jersey
yep.
storyline. I got to talk with the owner for a second. I was actually wearing my Bon Jovi jacket, so he came up to me and goes, "Hey, you see the guitar?" And obviously I saw it already. So I guess Hobie Keith gave him this really cool American flag, the owner, American flag guitar, and Alice Cooper signed it. And then when John was there, he signed it. And I remember a few months ago, we saw that John was there. And obviously I do Twitter updates, and I posted a picture of John at Americana Diner. Obviously at the time, we didn't know, the correlation with it. But yeah. So the Red, White, and Jersey music video and the photography was filmed there for the T-shirt and album cover, or photo single cover is what you want to call with the car and stuff. So that was pretty cool to see. The owner showed me the three booths that the kids were in that film. So check that out. We got ice cream. And then, we had my 11, 10-month-old baby. So I think we kind of called it quits after that because I know we wanted to go to the beach and, see some New Jersey and Sleeping Wet and 1,700 sites. But that's okay. We'll do it next time. Next time. So I think that's all we did, right? For Jovi sites.
We went to the Count Basie and saw the new star.
No, no, no. That's not say we. You stayed in the car. I
Well,
got out and took a look at it.
I did watch the live stream the other day, so it was
Yeah,
okay.
but I had to see it in person. I had to see it. So yeah, so for those that don't know what we're talking about, so John was just inducted last week. Mostly everybody that watches this podcast are diehard. But just in case, John was inducted at the Count Basie Theater. He was inducted. He's got his own star on the Walk of Fame right in front of the theater in Red Bank. So that was cool. I had to show you Jack's Music Shop. I love that place. They got some Bon Jovi
Yeah,
memorabilia hung up there.
that
Um,
was a really cool record store. I'd never
yeah,
been there.
Did you check out the? I know you're worried about the Jeep being totaled. Did you check out the crush display at the top? I was gonna ask you that the other day.
No, where was that?
See, it was up at the top because they had
Oh, where
yeah
the books were at.
yeah where the books
Oh, okay.
yeah. I
Yeah.
got pictures. I'll send you some pictures of it.
Okay.
So that was what we did on Friday. So let's get to the fun stuff. I know this is why people are listening to the podcast, and people probably listening are like, come on, just get to the cook-off. Anyway, we get to cook-off day. So I want to give a little bit of history so that everything kind of makes sense here. I really liked how they did the tickets this year and the crowd control. I just want to say that I've been to many cook-offs. I've been to the Soul Kitchens many times just on a normal day. And I say this many times, I want to continue to say it. The volunteers there, the staff there, they are incredible. I can name names here, but everyone's just so nice or so kind, and they worked really hard and they did a great job at this year's chick cook-off, as they always do. So over the last few years at these cook-offs, everybody knows that John comes. John is very gracious with his time and takes photos and autographs with fans. And so obviously when they first started doing these cook-offs 10 years ago, this year's was the 10th anniversary of the cook-off. And see, I'm wearing my shirt. Um, so like the first 2 years, like maybe like 5 or 10 fans would show up. But then word got out that John came, and so every year more and more people have come. And obviously we've seen it in the last few years of going that a lot of fans will go. So obviously they set up barricades during the day. And these last few years we stayed behind these barricades and you didn't know who had tickets and who didn't. And usually people just bought the tickets at the gate and went in. But these last few years, there'd be hundreds and I'm not exaggerating here, hundreds and hundreds of fans
Yeah.
trying, hanging out for the day, trying to get the autograph, trying to get the photo. And it was just, security. People are pushing people, and like I said, it's a big security risk. And it's total chaos. People don't know how to act like adults, don't know how to be respectful to other
Right.
fans, and people trying to get 10 autographs, and so
Yep.
and then when you get into the actual event, it'd go from all these hundreds of people to maybe what, 50 people. So they weren't even supporting the actual cause and the chili cook-off. Um,
Well, I and just I'll tell you this like real quick. You and I talked about it yesterday, but I several like two different times, I guess, I'm sitting inside the event or standing inside the event. They had a section barricaded off for attendees this time, and I looked outside the barricade a couple different times, and there wasn't many people out there. So
yeah,
I'm right there with you, man. I'm glad they made the
yeah,
changes. I thought it went well for the people that were there to support the event. So
yeah. So what I was just talking about was the last few years, and like you were just saying here. So this year, over the summer, they had announced that they were going to do a limited amount of tickets, and you had to have a ticket in order to get into the event. And so in July, they announced what was called Tier One. And at the end of the day, guys, Tier One and Tier Two didn't really mean anything. It was just a ticketing system of when they were releasing tickets. So in July, Tier One, you had to come into the store physically to buy tickets. Okay.
yep.
Um, and so I think it sold out like within 2 days. I think they did like a total of 100 tickets, if I remember correctly.
I don't
And
remember, but it
then,
sold out pretty quick. Yeah.
yeah, and then in September they did an online sale and it sold out within 3 minutes. And I keep hearing different numbers from different people, but I think the average consensus number was 300 to 400 tickets in total. Um,
Sounds about right.
so
Yeah.
I think this was a really good idea. So on Saturday, you and I and a bunch of other friends, we showed up at 7 o'clock in the morning before the staff was even there.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so we get in line. I think there's like maybe 5 other fans there. Same idea. Anyone that is seasoned in this and knows what this is like, you guys show up early. Okay. So we all, um, I think a lot of fans really showed up around 8 o'clock. I think by 8 o'clock there was maybe 100 fans lined up already, and the staff wasn't even there yet. So the staff gets there, and then they start putting the barricades up immediately. And the last few years they didn't do barricades till maybe 11 o'clock. But this year they started putting them up around 8:30, 9 o'clock. We still just hung out outside of the barricade that they had set up for us. So eventually, they did like a wait, you want to call it like a pit barricade where they did another
Yeah.
inside barricade.
Yep.
So two really nice ladies started going around and looking at our, making sure we had the tickets. And if you had a ticket, they put a wristband on. It was a nice yellow wristband. So they did that, and I think once the police came, so that's another thing too. And there's a heavier police presence, security presence,
For sure.
and rightfully so. I
Yep.
think that in the last couple of years, it's gotten really chaotic. So
Yeah,
I
you and I neither one went last year, but we heard it was kind of chaotic, and it was definitely seems things seem to go smoother this year than they did 2 years ago when you and I went. So
yeah,
the changes they made have been for the positive. So
absolutely, yeah. And so I think once the police officers got there, I think maybe this was like 10:30, 11 o'clock. Anyone with a ticket, they allowed in. And so when you got in past the outer barricade, you went in and there
yep,
was another barricade. It was like kind of like a pit area.
yep,
And fans got to line up along the barricade. And like I said, probably maybe 300 people were there. And then obviously if you did, and another great thing I want to applaud the staff there is that they would continually make sure that if you were in that pit barricade, that you had a wristband. They would keep coming across and make sure you had that wristband. There were some other, like you said a little bit ago, there weren't really too many people
no,
that were there that didn't have a ticket, but there were some people, and I'm going to get into that in just a second. But the ones that didn't have a ticket, they were starting to try to find a way in. And what the staff did there was make another barricade to where they couldn't actually get in at all
agreed. Yeah,
into the pit. So I was glad that they did that. So another thing too, and I'm not judging anybody. I know everybody wants this event is kind of getting harder to get into. I get it. But I was talking with some friends and some just other Bon Jovi fans that were flying from California and Boston and North Carolina and all these different states that didn't have a ticket. And they're like, yeah, well, we're just gonna try to sneak in. Like, it's not my place to say anything to them, but I think just people that are listening to this podcast don't do that because we talked to some fans that were kind of let down that they didn't get in. The Soul Kitchen made it very clear online that if you don't have a ticket, you're not getting in. And
yeah,
so a lot of these fans were kind of bummed that they traveled all this way without a ticket, so
yeah,
for people that are listening for future reference, that's probably a no-no.
yeah. I wouldn't have attempted to go had I not
No,
had a ticket.
me either.
Because I mean, in prior years, sorry not to cut you off, but
No,
in
no, you're fine.
prior years you could have gotten to John. This year, you had no
Yeah.
chance. Wasn't happening.
And I totally get their perspective of things. They wanted to be there. Tickets were very limited. I get it. But don't have the expectations that you're going to get in if you don't have a ticket. And
Yeah,
and like I said, the staff continually were rightfully so. We're making sure that whoever was in that pit had a wristband. We showed our wristbands multiple times, and I'm glad that they did that because the fans that did pay to be there, got the opportunities that we're going to talk
well,
about.
I remember 2 years ago, man, I felt sorry for John because he was coming around signing autographs and it was just like the line continued to grow.
Oh
There
yeah,
was not a ton of organization 2 years ago to it. So it just the line just kept growing
yeah,
and growing and growing. And
and
he's
that's
walking to
not
like an endless line,
yeah,
So at least this year he was able to sign, the ticketed guest and
yeah.
move on,
Yeah, and we're going to get into that here in just a little bit, but I do want to say, just to kind of touch on what you just touched. It was a very, very relaxed event.
Yes.
Because the times that I've been there, it's so chaotic. This year, John was in such a great mood.
Yep.
The, everybody all the fans were very respectful. And John just kind of went down the line, signed whatever people had, took photos of it. It was such an easy going. There was no chaos at all that I saw.
No,
Uh,
I thought they did an amazing job this year. Yeah.
Absolutely. All the fans there that were very respectful. So, all right. So we talked about the wristbands, right? So we're in there, and I tell you what, like we've been there from 7 to 1 before the event started. And it just, for me, it flew like that, because I'm talking with a bunch of different friends and catching up with everybody. So for me, it went by pretty
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, you and I talked about that a little bit, man. We talked about the cruise and you sitting out there waiting all day at the cruise. That's not something I would have done. I'm not a very patient person. So for me to
Yeah.
sit out there all day, just not happening. But I completely agreed with you when I came 2 years ago because you get to meet different people. Everybody's got the same, we're all there for the same reason. We're all Bon Jovi fans. Um,
Exactly.
Honestly, man, I think the
Supporting the
time
soul.
goes by pretty quick. So,
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, Matt, the one thing that I really do enjoy about these cook-offs, it's no secret. A lot of the people that go to these are Bon Jovi fans.
yeah,
And so obviously, we really haven't had much Bon Jovi events to really go to outside of, the Runaway Trip, these cook-offs, and, maybe some one-off events like a listening party or, the Barnes and Noble event in LA the other day. So it's been, so you and I have been fans for so many years, and we go to all these concerts and events, blah blah blah. And these last couple of years have been a little slower. So being able to see our Bon Jovi friends again was really nice. So, like I said, the whole morning I really enjoyed being there because I got to talk with friends and stuff. And for people that are listening, you don't have to show up at 7 or 8 o'clock to have. I know people that got to meet John, and they showed up at 11 o'clock and got into the barricade and stuff like that. So, and John actually showed up early this year.
seemed
Uh,
like it. Yeah.
yeah, because usually I know the times that I've been there, he's shown up right at the dot because the event starts at 1 to 4, and they don't let fans in until John comes out and tastes the chili.
Yep.
And rightfully so, because that if they let the fans in, they're going to bombard John, and John's not going to be able to try the chili and have that free space to roam around. So this year, John came out at 12:30. I remember seeing Matt Bon Jovi come out, and we'll get to our little story in a second. But I remember seeing him come out, walking around, and so I kind of had the feeling. I said, "Could John be here already since Matt's here?" And I saw Matt standing around doing this and doing that, and talking with some of this whole kitchen staff. And all of a sudden, you see Dorothea and John come out, and the crowd just screams, and so John waved at everybody, went over and did the chili cook or tasted the chili from the different fire departments and first responders and stuff like that. And so I want to talk about Matt Bon Jovi, who he is just I can't say enough good things about Matt. He is truly one of the nicest guys that you can meet. He does a lot for the band, obviously. He's John's brother, but he does so much for the band. And he cares about the fans and stuff. And so anyway, so we brought my daughter, my 10-month-old daughter, and you can see the photos online, but we had a Bon Jovi Heart and Dagger onesie that's on the band's web store right now. And then we had a jean jacket on her, and we had some Bon Jovi pins. We had a big pin that said, actually, I have it right here. Uh, Asked me about Bon Jovi, which I got from the Genesis Forever book collection. So we had that on her, and Matt came over and met my daughter Callie, and so we got to talk to Matt for I would say maybe 10, 15 minutes and stuff, and just nice conversation. Matt's just the coolest guy. And I remember you talked about when you met him back in
Yeah.
Nashville, the album signing, right? For Forever.
I had met him. Well, let's go back to 2018. I
Oh,
took my,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I took my daughter Emma to the show back in 2018. And it might have been 2017. I don't remember, but nonetheless, she had a sign up that she was holding, and I forgot what the sign said at this point. But um, Matt had actually came out, and I'm trying to think now. So that was, oh goodness, she was probably 10 years old at that point. So, um, gosh, man, she might have been 8.
Yeah.
Um, anyway,
Oh,
long story short, she had a sign up and Matt came out and brought her a guitar pick. And I just thought that was the coolest thing that Matt recognized the sign from backstage and came out and brought her and handed her a guitar pick. So, fast forward to last year for the album signing, I brought Lucas with me, my son, and he took his picture with Matt. So Matt's always been great to me and my whole family. Super nice guy. very
really,
appreciative of him taking the time. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Matt, like I said, I can't say enough nice things about him. He's always been good to me. I know so many other Bon Jovi fans that he's been good to, and like I said, he does so much for the fans. He does so much for the band. Um, and so yes, we got to talk to Matt for about 10, 15 minutes, and I got some nice pictures of him and Callie. I posted a few on my Twitter and Instagram, I believe. So you can check those out there. And so yeah, Matt's just the coolest guy. And then Matt went to go do his security thing with John, making sure John's okay because John, I think John maybe spent what 20 minutes, visiting with the local first responders and tasting the chili and stuff.
yep.
And then John came out, that big classic JBJ smile and waved at all the fans behind the barricade. And he just said, "Hi, everybody. I'm going to get to everybody. I'm going to start at the end of the line here." And so like I said, there's probably maybe what 300 fans in this barricade. And so we watched him for maybe 5, 10 minutes before he got to us, but we watched him and he was in a great mood. He was saying hi to everybody, taking photos, signing whatever people wanted signed, and it was great. And then obviously, so we'll get to us. And before I get to, I want to say it again. I think all the fans that were there were so respectful. There was no pushing around. There was no what's the word I'm looking for. Everything was just easy going. It was great to see that. It really was. And I hope that continues that way. Um, but anyway, so John gets to us. And obviously I had to introduce him to Callie. And I want to say this because it means so much to me that John still remembers my name. I think that is just you have one of the greatest rock star in the world, and for him to acknowledge and say my name, that means the world to me. I know that might sound silly to some people, but I really enjoyed that. Anyway, so I introduced him to, he's met my wife before, but he met Callie. And I have a ton of pictures of him and Callie. Thankfully, to some friends and stuff, they took some pictures. And so I got a picture of me, my wife, and my daughter. And so I basically I can say that I have my three favorite people in the whole world in that photo. Plus some people behind me waving their, albums and trying to peek through and stuff. But John was so, so, so nice. And I really enjoyed having that moment. Uh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
thought it was, and I didn't tell you this, the other day, but I did. I thought it was cool too because he's coming down the line and he was getting almost to you, and he finished up with the person in front of you, and then he's like, "Oh, hey Jerry, how are you?"
yeah,
So
you're
yeah, I
right.
thought that was cool that he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, there's Jerry." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And like I said, I know it might sound cheesy to some people, but John has been my role model for 25 years and counting. And I just look up to him in so many ways. And for him to acknowledge me and know who I am, it just means the world to me. It really does. And for him to meet my baby girl and take because I want to say this too. John is very gracious with every single fan, and but he moves along down the line to, takes the photos, does the autographs, and
yep.
got a lot of people to meet. He took a couple minutes to take the time to say hi to my baby and meet her, and obviously Callie has no idea who this is. In a few years she will, but for him to meet her and stuff and get a few photos with me, my wife, and baby, it was amazing. It's my favorite picture now. So.
Cool. Yeah.
Um, so now he gets to you. So I'll let you tell your
Yeah, and I wanted something I was just thinking about as you were talking about that. Last year or 2 years ago, I'm sorry, I think I gave John my phone and we took a selfie, me and my daughter Emma and John. And then this year, Darian was with John. So he was coming along. I told him, I said, I just want a picture. So he took my cell phone and when he got to me, John turned around and faced toward Darian, and Darian took the photo. And as soon as I got the photo, as soon as I got the picture with John, I turned and looked at the photos, and I was like, "Holy cow, these are really good." Well, Darian had gone in there and put it on portrait mode, and which I thought was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And so the photos turned out phenomenal. So a
Yeah.
big shout out to Darian for that, man. That was a nice touch, and he took several photos. It's not like one click and move on. So they even the staff, took their time to look out for the fans. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
You know what, Matt? I want to bring that up for a second because you actually do bring a good point. Obviously all the diehard they know who Darren is, they know who Rob is, and, Matt Bon Jovi, Lou Senior, Lou Junior, and a few other people. I'm probably hopefully not hopefully I'm not trying to remember all the names, but anyway, they really do care about the fans, and they run Bon Jovi management and this and that and stuff like that. And they really do care about the fans. And like you said, for them to take the time to
Yeah.
get some nice photos, because I mean, I
I
looked at
mean,
my phone, I have like 40 photos of everything, and it's great.
yeah. I mean, he easily could have took one photo and just said, "All right, move on to the next."
Yeah, exactly. And I think obviously Matt was there, Rob,
Yep.
Darren. Uh, I saw Lou Jr. I didn't see Lou Senior though, but someone said he was there. I didn't see him though. He wasn't coming down the line with all the when John was meeting the fans. But yeah, so it's nice that they look out for the fans. And then obviously there were some police officers that were coming down just in case someone
Yep.
went crazy. But I think everything went fine. I think someone fainted though right after you met John, right? Did you see?
Really? No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
someone was telling. I didn't see anything happen, but I remember that there's a little bit of a commotion.
Hmm.
Um, but so did you? Anything else you want to say about your meet and greet with John? You and your
No,
daughter?
I mean it was a pleasant experience as always. I'm not big on autographs. I was tickled to death to get an updated photo, from 2 years ago. I remember 2 years ago, it meant everything to me that my daughter was there. And for her to be there again this year was special. So
Yeah.
both of those photos was something I'll always treasure. So
Yeah, and I remember what your daughter is so cool, and I was just watching you and her meet John, and it was just like the huge smile on her face and stuff. But you mentioned autographs. I want to grab mine real quick.
okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big autograph guy, so the photo was plenty. I mean, I know several people though that got autographs and photos. So
Right.
yeah,
You
good
know,
for them.
yeah. So for me, I'm a huge collector. I've collected for 25 years in counting. So this year I was like, you know what? I really just care about John, getting a photo with John and my baby. That's what meant a lot to me this year. So like, I might just opt out of getting an autograph this year because he's gonna be signing a bunch of autographs, and maybe I'll just cut him a break because I always get autographs and stuff. But you and I went to the Nashville trip back in June, okay? And I know I could go on a whole tirade of this. But we absolutely loved the show. It was so great to see our favorite band back on stage. It was great seeing John make a comeback vocally. We were so proud of him. But there was a moment of the show where the band was playing "Living on a Prayer," and you're right before the guitar solo. John sings "Living on a Prayer," and holds the notes in prayer. Um, and then the guitar solo comes in. So at this Runaway show back in June, John held those notes and sounded so fucking good. And I remember Phil went to go play the solo, and the fans were cheering and clapping for him. It was so loud that it overpowered the amps in the band. And I remember the band was so proud of him. We were so proud of him. We were clapping and cheering. And then John comes back, you got to hold on ready or not. You live for the fight wins all that you got. John was choking up because seeing us as fans so happy for him. And I think he was also proud of himself that he was sounding really good. And so thankfully, David Bergman, he took a bunch of photos, and Runaway Tours, they gave us they emailed us these photos. But for those that are watching on YouTube, I'm going to show it right here. I have a picture of John hitting those notes during prayer right before the guitar solo. And so I think with how I had this hanging on my wall, and it came to me last week. I said, this is such one of my favorite. I've been to over 70 shows, and this is probably one of my favorite moments that I've ever seen live. And I'm so proud of John because he's worked so hard at getting better. And so I thought, you know what, I got to get this signed. And so I got it signed to me, and it says to Jerry, thanks, John Bon Jovi. So I did get something signed this year. So
Yeah,
um,
that was a cool moment, and
yeah,
I'm glad you got it signed.
yeah. I saw it last week, and I'm glad I thought of it in time. And I think it's just such an iconic photo, and I'm glad I got it signed. So um, and then yeah, so John kept going down the line, and us, as Bon Jovi fans, we all go in the back and we all show each other our photos and autographs. Did you get to meet him? Yes, I know. Here's the photo. And I love that. I think that's so great, that we all just share each other's photos and experiences. We're all so happy for each other. And yeah, it was great. So we did that for about what, 20 minutes or so.
Yep,
Um, and I think John spent maybe another 20 minutes meeting fans, and then him and Dorothea left. And then so once they leave, then the Soul Kitchen lets the fans in.
right.
So John showed up about 12:30. I think we were in about quarter after one, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
about right.
So about 45 minutes in total where John met the first responders and then met the fans and stuff. So we get in. Obviously, the cook-off itself is really fun too. So I remember I was talking with a lot of friends and stuff like that. So, but eventually we got to the food. What they had? They had mac and cheese,
Yep,
uh,
coleslaw, potato salad,
coleslaw,
baked
potatoes.
beans. They had ropa vieja, I guess, which is like shredded beef. They had chicken. Um, I want to say they had some pulled pork, but I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I don't.
So
I know my wife got me a plate made, and I had the potato salad and mac and cheese, and she made me like a taco. Um,
yeah, and then they
what the-
had dessert as well, which honestly
yes. Oh my
I forgot.
gosh.
I forgot about every bit of that stuff from 2 years ago. I just remember the chili from 2 years ago, and we haven't even touched on that yet. But um, I forgot about all the other food that they had, and then of course the merch that you could purchase. So
Yeah, we'll get to the merch, but yeah. So you mentioned dessert, and I'm trying to watch my figure here. I'm trying to lose 10 pounds, so I had to have a lot of self-control. But there was these muffins,
yeah,
and inside the muffin were like apple slices with
yep,
like cinnamon and sugar, and it was amazing. And then on top of it was like whipped cream.
they were really
Oh
good.
my gosh, I wanted to. Oh, so yeah, so I had one of those. We ate. This year they had the actual Soul Kitchen closed off from the everybody, so you couldn't go into the actual Soul Kitchen this year. And I think it was just a way for like the staff maybe to kind of unwind and relax a few minutes. But another thing that I noticed that's changed because the last time I was there was 2023. I didn't go last year because my wife was almost due with Callie, so we didn't go last year. But the pantry that they have right next door to the Soul Kitchen, where people can donate goods, and that's another thing for people that are going to go in the future. You can bring canned goods and stuff and donate that to the pantry. The Soul Kitchen staff will collect it. So that was kind of cool to see this big, I don't know if I want to call it a warehouse, but it was right by the Soul Kitchen. And it's just this huge room filled with, canned goods and food, and they give that out to the people in the community that need it. So that's great. That's heartwarming to see. Let's talk about the merch. So obviously they have Soul Kitchen merch. They have the Hope is Delicious t-shirts. You can get the Soul seasonings. You can get all of this stuff too online. If you go to the JBJ Soul Kitchen website, I don't think it's on the foundation website. I think it's on the Soul Kitchen website. You'll
Correct.
find it. Um, but yeah, you can get seasonings on there, the aprons, the hats, the t-shirts. My wife's favorite thing is the honey. It is delicious. Have you had the honey?
No, I haven't.
You had, oh my gosh.
No, yeah,
So my wife and I and Callie, we flew, and so you can't fly back with the honey. So I'm having a friend ship it. Um, but yeah, here at our house we always have the soul seasons. We have the Nashville, we have the original, but we ran out of cilantro lime, so I bought a pack of the cilantro lime.
I'm dying to try that. I haven't had
Oh
it.
man. And what's so cool that if you bought the big pack of the cilantro lime, they gave you a free cutting board with it. So that was awesome. So I got that. Already had the shirts. I did buy the 10th annual cook-off shirt.
Yep, I got two myself.
I bought an apron as well. And yeah, I think yeah, everything else yeah, I think that's all that I got. What'd you get? The
I got the chili cook-off shirts, the one like you're wearing. I got two of those, or I got one. My daughter got one. I didn't buy any of the seasoning. I wanted to, but I decided not to.
yeah.
Just since we didn't do anything with just carry-ons, and I didn't want to carry back a whole lot of stuff. So, but I do think I'm going to place an order and buy some of that seasoning because I'm
Yeah.
really wanting to try it. And then the coffee. You had bought me the coffee as soon as it went on sale. Um, and they
Yeah,
had some of that there. And dude, honestly, man, I was surprised. The coffee was better than I expected. I'm a little bit of a coffee snob, and
I know.
pre-ground coffee is not my thing.
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty good for pre-ground coffee. I mean, it's
Yeah.
smooth.
Yeah, I'm not much of a coffee drinker, so you're speaking Spanish to me. You and my wife are like coffee know-it-alls, but
You'll know what I mean.
so that was the merch, and then they had the chili cook-off, the first responders. So the idea of the whole cook-off event is that first responders come in and they all compete with the who has the best chili. So I think there was what, 6 tables this year?
I think there was eight because I think
There
I
was
voted
eight.
for number six.
Okay.
Uh,
And everybody was really good. My personal favorite, and I never thought about this, putting mango.
yeah, you voted for the same one I did. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm trying to remember which fire department that was that did that,
yeah, I
but
don't
they didn't
remember, but
win.
it.
I know they weren't Asian, but they were called like something Asian. They won first and second place, or first and third, and someone else won second. But the one that I voted for didn't win. But everybody was so good, and everyone was so nice. Um, and so so it was nice to kind of go table to table and try out their chili. They give you a cup of chili and you can try it. Uh,
It's a fun event, man. I mean, it really is. I mean, I know everybody goes there to see John, but if the event hadn't have been fun, I don't know that I'd have went back. Because I mean, it's a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of money for us to travel over there. So
yeah,
it really is a fun event. I mean, that's
yeah.
why I
I,
came back.
I truly enjoy it. I really do. I think even if you go to the Soul Kitchens on a normal day,
Oh
and
man,
actually seeing the impact
yeah,
that they make with the community and seeing people that truly need that a place like that, it's heartwarming. Um,
yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was telling you, I think yesterday when we drove up to Maine a few years ago, we stopped into the Soul Kitchen and I carried it was, me and my wife, our three kids, and then my parents. So, we had a big party and we
yeah,
stopped at the Red Bank location
okay.
and they did not charge for the kids. And I thought that was really nice, man. That
Wow.
I didn't expect that, I didn't know that that was going to happen, but
Yeah,
the food's great quality food. So yeah, man, there's a reason why the restaurants keep getting high ratings.
yeah, absolutely, yes. And these cook-offs, they're really fun events. They really are. And so so the event was from 1 to 4.
Yep.
And they also do a guitar auction too. So they get a guitar, John signs it, and you could like purchase, I think, 2 tickets or however many tickets you want. And then I think someone said that someone spent $300 on raffle tickets to and put in for the guitar.
Oh
And
wow.
I still don't think they won it. Actually, I think one of the sponsors actually won. I forget the name of the sponsor, but they won it. So the person that
Huh.
spent $300 on tickets, God bless you.
That would
But
be my luck.
the money goes to a good cause.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so they announced that at the end, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the event. Then we went down the street, you, me, and some other bunch of friends, and went to this carousel ice cream place, which was really cool.
Yep.
One thing that a lot of other fans did too that I want to acknowledge, Michelle Bloom, shout out to her. She reached out to this. Oh, forgive me, I forget the name, but they do like laser shows at this planetarium for different bands. but she had organized to do a Bon Jovi laser show at the event, or down like half a mile away in Tom's River. And so it's like a laser show at this planetarium, and they play like I think there's like 10 Bon Jovi songs on the set list. I wanted to go to it, but I had my 10-month-old baby. I didn't know how the loud music and lasers and stuff would affect her. So unfortunately, I had to opt out of that this year, but I wish I would have gone. But maybe next time. Um, and then I know the old man that you are, you had to be in bed by 6.
6:30.
Um, so was there anything else that we didn't cover that you want to mention about the cook-off that we didn't cover?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, I wanted to touch on how, even if you don't go to the chili cook-off, which is a fun event in itself, but the restaurants, I can't say enough good things about it. I've been to the Red Bank location twice. I've never ate at the Tom's River location, but it's definitely a good cause. They do a lot of nice things, and the I will say this: the chili cook-off, for me, was much better, more well organized this year than it was 2 years ago. So props to the whole staff and
Yeah.
everyone.
And
I thought it went really well.
yeah, I want to say this too. When you mentioned that it was more organized than it was 2 years ago, you're right. But I want to say that it's not the Soul Kitchen's fault that it was
No, no,
organized.
absolutely not. No,
It's
it's the fans, unfortunately.
it's all the fans that show up and you know push to get this autograph and photo, but then they don't actually
Yeah,
support the event.
yeah,
So this year it was nice that the fans that did show up, were there to support the event, and as you should. Um, so I made a joke yesterday too, because obviously, out of let's say 300 fans, at least I'm gonna say at least 200, 250 of the people that were there were Bon Jovi fans. Diehard fans. I think there's like a few. I don't. There was this one guy. I think you mentioned it that he was there uh just to go to the event. He really wasn't a Bon Jovi fan. He's like, why is all these barricades? I just want to go into the event. And they're like, well, John's here. I was like, well, yeah, I don't care about that. And then all of us here, we go with our get our autographs and photos with them and stuff like that. But the joke that I was making yesterday, I said, can you imagine like being in the local community and you hear about this cook-off? Oh yeah, I'll go to that. And then you get there and you see this long barricade, and you see everybody in Bon Jovi shirts,
oh yeah.
all
And
this.
you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, as always, I had a great time being there, talking with other Bon Jovi friends and seeing everybody. It's just a great time. I really had a good time, and they really did a good job at organizing it this year. And I hope in the future, and I'm sure they will, um, do ticket in this way because it is
Yeah,
chaotic if you don't. And I think everybody that was there was really respectful, and that was
yeah. I mean,
it
I
was
think
easy.
you. Yeah. I mean, I think even the staff would say it went smoother this year,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was less chaotic for them as well. So yeah, it was good, man. Good
Yeah.
time.
All right, buddy. Stay on the man the recording.
All
Thank
right.
you for taking the time to. I know we both woke up at 2 o'clock this morning to get to the airport.
Whew. I know,
Yeah.
right? Hey, I'm
And
just glad we made it out. There's a lot of people that, their flights got canceled, so I'm just happy to be home.
with the government shutdown happening right now and the storm
The
that was,
weather.
I was
Yeah.
worried that we were going to get delayed, which I wasn't going to complain because I would have dragged my wife and baby out to New York City and do stuff there. But unfortunately, our flight made it out okay, so it didn't happen. But anyway, buddy, thank you for taking the time to come on. Always great to
Hey,
do
man.
this with you. And yeah,